Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Taking Up Space, a Michelle A. Mara podcast. Always excited about coming forward. Today is absolutely no different. Today, I got a really thought-provoking, juicy conversation for you guys. This has been on my spirit for some time now, but I just didn't know how I wanted to convey it. I've spoken to the power of women many times in these podcasts, and the powerful presence that women were created to bring to the relationships, to the world, to her families, to her relationships with the men in her family, whether the brothers, the uncles, the cousins, or even her husband. The power of the feminine is what I speak to, and it is pervasive within this channel. It is undeniable. I stand within the totality of that. I know it very well. It has been monumental in my life. And I look to convey aspects of it to you. And so today I'm going to be speaking to the Isis and Osiris story. This story somewhat mimics the Adam and Eve story. You see, these stories were all regurgitated over and over again, broken down in different languages throughout time. And they all have a central theme. They all kind of like coalesce within the same vibration. And like I said, I was thinking earlier to this whole matriarchal movement that we see in the world today. I'm watching on social media and how many people speak to the matriarchal movement, and we see that in the governmental systems. I don't know if you saw recently over the last week or so what's going on in I believe it's the Philistines, the Philippines or Thailand. I can't recall. I don't think it's Thailand. I think it's the Philippines. But then we see recently with President Trump having these relationships with China, and we speaking him facing handshaking. I believe it was a senior person in the Chinese government, and she was a woman. Just he and this woman agreeing on national TV. And I thought, wow, this is an interesting time to be an active participant in. And I like to give some history or herstory to it because it's a phenomenal story. And also there are phenomenal movements that God is using women to egg on. When we look at the Bible in general, we can go from Genesis, and there she is, prominent. She's not hiding. She's not submissive. She plays a pivotal role in the first book of the Bible. In the first book of the Bible, it is all about her primarily when you open that book. If you recognize what you're looking at, you'll recognize that the fundamental portions of the beginning of the Bible are all centered around she. It is the beginnings of the Bible in the book of Genesis that God conveys how he created heaven and earth. That's her. He's showing how this womb came into being, this space, the darkness of space. I've said many times on the podcast and in the Bible studies and on the Sunday services, everywhere you look that I drop any kind of communications, I'm speaking to the ethereal, the darkness, that blank, that noir space that you see high in the sky, that vastness is a womb. It's her womb. And everything from that womb everything is birthed out of that womb and then brought down into the world of light. So when we look at the book of Genesis, we're looking at primarily before all of her children began to multiply, we look at her. When you look at the entirety of the Bible, you're looking at her. Emanations of her. So when we look at the book of Genesis, we look at not going to get too deep in Genesis, but what I want you to gather is that you are looking at from the beginning, the opening pages of the book of Genesis, the first page. You're looking at a story of she. God showing you how he brought all of this together. And all of this thing that he's brought together is she. And then you see a situation happen where there's this third party that comes into this system, that both the physical manifestation of she and the physical manifestation of man are interacting, and they are all at one frequency. They are vibrating at the same stasis. They are in agreement with one another. It is a holistic state. Everything is wonderful and perfect. It's at its apex. And then this third party comes in. And out of jealousy, this third party catches Adam off guard and is able to trick him, overcome him. This story is very synonymous to the Isis and Osiris story of Egyptian mythology, if you want to call it mythology. Yeah, it's all symbolic of something greater, and that's what I want to get into today. Because I think what happens when many people hear this story, they get lost in the symbology. And I'm going to try to make it very universally understandable to you, because it is very universally understandable. But it's a story that you will not understand unless you significantly ponder your life, you go in and out of significant situations, or you desire to know it. So I'm going to use my experiences in pondering life and going in and out of significant situations and experiences to simplify it for you, hopefully so that you can gain access to what it really is conveying to you. Isis and Osiris were two children, just like Adam and Eve, two children. They were born, they were emanations of both heaven and earth, spirit and the physical reality. And Osiris has a brother named Set. And Set is jealous of Osiris. They have this brotherly conflict. And one day, Set entraps Osiris. He tricks him. He entraps him. Set gets Osiris in a state where he's not standing in the fullness of his power. He overcomes him. And in him overcoming him, he chops him up in 14 pieces and spreads the pieces of his body throughout the Nile and different areas of the Nile Delta. Now he does this so that Osiris does not regenerate naturally. He does this to, not just because he wants him not to regenerate, he doesn't want to be bothered with him anymore. He wants to stop Osiris from procreating with Isis. So he's unaliving two birds with one stone. He's going to chop Osiris up, and in him chopping him up, the body would not be able to regather itself on its own. He's breaking the body down and dispersing different pieces of the body in different areas so that there's no way for it to regenerate on its own. There's no way for it to come back together in a human form as Osiris. Neither is it the body able to procreate another living being outside of Osiris. It's been unalived. And this is where the story becomes very, very good. Because what we know God created Adam and Eve to do was to procreate, right? And in God creating Adam and Eve, God gave Adam Eve as a helpmate. Not just any helpmate, y'all. And I think we got to get rid of the days where we're looking at women as just easy characters damsels in distress in a cold world. They are much more than that. We are much, much more than that, y'all. We are that unassuming, vital component to the success of all. We will see this in the story of Osiris and Isis. After Set dismembers the body of Osiris and distributes it throughout the Nile Delta, Isis, his wife, his helpmate, goes into overdrive. She now transforms from just a nice wife, a supporting, doting wife, to a pivotal player in keeping the natural cadence in which God instilled on this realm intact. She becomes ferocious. The love aspect kicks in so immensely within this feminine energy that she takes it upon herself through love, through the dynamic that God had instilled in her creation, to be the constant helpmate to Adam, to support Adam in whatever capacity Adam needs support. She has within her, knowing or unknowing, the dynamic, the power to come to the knowing of whatever problem faces Adam and solve it. She solves it. Adam is in a serious situation. Osiris Adam has been dismembered by his brother Set, by the serpent, the devil, the Satan. He's been caught off guard. And now this entity has tricked him, has caught him off guard and taken a portion of his power and overcome him to the point that he is able to cut him up in pieces and unalive him and then take his pieces. He's wise enough to know that I need to disperse this man's pieces so that it's very difficult for anyone to ever bring him and to mend him back together. But this woman, his helpmate, his wife, none other than the one that God created in the beginning to be of help to him, the one God knew he would need. There would be no other person that could come to Adam's defense and Adam's aid than she. And in finding out the tragedy of what has already occurred to Adam, she rises to the occasion, and she and her sister Nephthys go into the haze, into the underworld. Friend, when I tell you the underworld, when they speak to this mythology, it's all things that we can understand in our lives if we have had an eventful life. This woman went into the deep, dark recesses of her mind, in her spirit. She was posed at a crossroads where everything is on the line. She has not given birth to the seed that God ordained them to give birth to. Adam's success is her success, and her and Adam's success means the success of her children. It means that the line goes on, the vine grows. It's not just him and me, it's us, because it's bigger than us. And because of the monumental reality facing her, it's already been done. Osiris has already been unalived and dismembered. She doesn't know where he is. She has no consort to call to help her. She cannot call Set, who is her brother, because he's the one that unalived Adam. And that's what he wants her to do. He wants her to call on him because he wants to be in replacement of Adam. The role, the job was to get Adam out of the picture. And now it's been done, or so he thinks. It's already been done. And the physicality is he's already overcome Adam. He's already dismembered Adam, and he's already cast Osiris, Adam, cast all of his body parts in foreign places. It's been done. It seems as if it's hopeless. It seems as if at this point in her mind, she would think all is lost just by what it looks like. But she says, oh no, you cannot have it. Not ever. And she goes and partners with another she. She goes to her sister Nephthys, goddess of mourning, goddess of protection. They are in a lamentary state. They are lamenting. It is a mournful state. It's already been done. They are there at that space. They are in that realm. Because, friend, when things happen, you immediately go from one state of mind to the next. You cannot go back. Anything outside of that is denial. And denial, backwards, denial. You cannot go back. It's already been done. So now they are in this mournful state. They must keep going. But Osiris, Adam, has been disempowered. And the only one that can fix it is her. And she goes within the deepest recesses of her spirit. She goes where you must have permission to get access to. She goes into the places in spirit where the likelihood of you coming out are slim to none. She risks it all because everything is on the line. And she knows in her righteousness. This is the part, y'all. This is where righteousness matters. In her righteousness, she knows, my love will keep me. My righteousness will keep me. She goes into Hades, the underworld, and she wrestles with all of the spirits within that realm. And she, piece by piece, gets every aspect of his body back except for one that was eaten by a fish, his genital area. She remembers. And in her remembering, she remembered him. She put him back together, piece by piece, through hell and high water. This one woman and her sister came to his rescue. He could depend on them to give it all they had to come to his rescue because he was desperately in need of being rescued. She remembered and she pieced him back together again in righteousness and in love. It was jealousy that got him dismembered. Unrighteousness. Severe chaos brought on by disintegrity, unrighteousness. It was nothing he did that was unrighteous, outside of ignorance. Ignorance. Forgetting. Becoming overcome and forgetting, losing track. Becoming overpowered by the tricks of this individual. It's a beautiful story. It's a wonderful story, y'all. And in her remembering him, she puts him back together. And even though his genital area she could not find, she used magic. She used the ability to call upon supernatural forces to influence change in the world. She called upon her love and her will, coupled with truth, to be able to cause change in the world. That's what magic is. That's the difference between magic and witchcraft and sorcery. All these things are similar, just like prayer. Prayer is a form of magic if you look at it like that. They're all activities you use to cause change in the world by calling upon what one would consider supernatural forces. But it is the intention that contaminates a thing. Her intentions and the reasoning behind what she is doing are all pure. They hold power. I told you before, there's no more powerful force in this universe than the power of love. Love tempered by truth, and then you add the aspect of will and desire and all these things to it. It is a gumbo of just a huge amount of power and force. And with it anything, you can create anything with it. This is the power that the witches wish they had. This is the power that they look to get through nature. Or give me a raven's heart and go give me this, go give me that, and let me get all these things so I can try to manufacture mechanically what God gives organically when aligned properly. That's what that is. She has this because she is aligned properly. She's firing off on all cylinders in the right direction. And in doing so, no weapon against her will not ever prosper. And all that she loves is protected by the force of her love. Anything she desires to call into existence that is in alignment to this frequency, to this force, must come. And it must come immediately. And it must come with power and in its fullness. It must come in the way she envisions it. It doesn't come distorted. It comes exact. And it comes immediately. And when it comes, there's permeance with it. And it's protected. This is what we see in her using her supernatural forces and calling upon all of the forces within this realm to serve her. We see now she giving birth to Horus, her son. The son that she has created of herself through Osiris. Osiris doesn't have a genital. He has no way of procreating. She's able to procreate through him alternatively the same. And what we find is that in her allowing Osiris to be remembered and brought back to life, resurrected. She resurrects him. She brings him back to life. But he does not come back exactly as he was before. She couldn't gather all the components of him. There was one component of him that was missing. And in this experience, Osiris would gather vital information about himself. All these things I tell you, I've already told you. You can look them up in Egyptian mythology. You can look them up in Sumerian, Mesopotamian. You can the Enuma Elish. You can look everywhere. It's the same stuff. It's just worded differently. The Bible says the same thing, the same exact thing, but in a different way. But if you don't understand what scripture is speaking to, you will miss it because it doesn't catch your attention. After she brings Osiris back to himself, he feels as if he can continue to go on, but he's not the same. He's had monumental experiences, huge losses. The Apocrypha would say, Adam was sin, and what is there after sin but death? Transformative cycles. We will see in the story of Isis and Osiris, this transformative cycle showing itself again. Osiris will become Lord of the underworld. He will become very attuned to this underworld environment, so much that he would dominate. He would come into knowing the transitions of life so much that he would dominate. He would get to a level of understanding it that it will become a science for him. Yes. He would become very, very fluid in mummification and ancestral veneration and all these different things. All because of the different cycles he would go through of life and transitions. Life and transitions. That is what it's speaking to. That is what the Apocrypha is speaking to when it speaks to Adam. Second book of Enoch, chapter 30, verse 14. This is good and that bad, that I should learn whether he has love or hatred toward me, that it might be clear which in his race love me. For I have seen his nature, but he has not seen his own nature. Therefore through not seeing, he will sin worse. And I said, after sin, what is there but death? Transitions. It is being spoken to in the Isis and Osiris story. When we look up Osiris, who is Osiris? He is someone that has mastered these transitions. He's mastered them so much that he has become Lord of the underworld. Master of the mummification process. Master at ancestral veneration. Why? Because he knows what it's like on the other side. He's come and gone. He's come and gone. He's come and gone. And he's seen those that have not come back, and what the differentiating factors were that kept them from coming back, and between those that came back. He's able to acknowledge the differences. He's wise. And they give birth to a son who capitalizes on the wisdom. When we look at Horus, we're looking at Osiris and Isis' son. You're looking at someone that has capitalized on the effectivity of the passing of a baton. The ancients were showing you in this mythical story of the best case scenario. This is what happens when the information is effectively transferred over to the next generation. Horus, Heru, in ancient times meant distant one. Why? He is the generations after this. He is the one that came after, but is of this same line. He's the distant one from Osiris, who had this experience. There has been time that passed, significant time, enough time to master these transitory states of life and transitions. Worldly mindsets and underworldly experiences. So much that you have it down to a science. And Heru comes, and he's the one that offers victory over all of these chaotic states. He's the result of victory, of chaos. Why? Because his mother went and through love moved through immense chaos to make order out of it, to bring back order from the chaos, so that he would be able to be born. She did not allow the chaos to absorb her as it absorbed Osiris. It would be she that would be able to go and stand in the gap and to be able to control the forces of chaos and to still her mind and to stay focused as if none of it is happening, all the while it's constantly going on around her. It is the force that is pushing her forward, yet she's not allowing it to control her in a chaotic way. She's able to allow it to control her in an expedient way, in a way where she is expediting intelligently, in a focused way, in an immediate way. She's calling on higher powers within our own self to capture the moment and get it done. Heru is born. Victory over chaos, a result, a positive result. He stands in the knowledge of these people that have come before him. He is the protector of the throne. He's the protector of Pharaoh. Who is Pharaoh? Pharaoh is his mother. She's the kingmaker. Pharaoh is Isis. Pharaoh is Eve. That is absolutely who it is. They got rid of Adam. If it weren't for her, Adam would be nowhere in the picture. If it weren't for her, if it weren't for Isis, Osiris would have been long gone. He would not have resurrected out of Hades. She and her sister came and got him. When we look at this story, and I hope I'm saying it exactly the way, in order that I want to say it. When we look at this story, it's a monumental story. But it's a story that many of us can relate to. I know I can. I feel like I've had many of these. I've had these situations come upon me where complete change is upon me immediately. Set. The God of chaos, the God of storms, transitions, changes. Dry places, famines. These are all the things that come with this type of energy. Tremendous change immediately. And upon this change that comes with Set, you pull from the bare minimum that you have. You pull from your internal reservoirs because there are no external ones. The storm that comes with him comes and uproots all of that. It is the internal spaces that must nourish you during your seasons of dealing with him. And it was this internal fountain that allowed Osiris to be tricked, or not even tricked, but to be unalived by him. But this is why God positioned Isis with him. This is why God positioned Eve with Adam. It's because she has an abundance of this. An abundance of it. She is the only one that can contend with him because of this. When we look in Revelation and it speaks to the dragon coming after God cast everybody out of heaven, and then the woman is cast out after she gives birth, and she's cast out and she comes down into the earth and she has eagle's wings, and God creates a space for her, and then the dragon sends a flood out of his mouth to drive her away. She finds help from she. This is the nature of her. She literally is his help. He needs her. She is vitally necessary, friend. Yet if he does not recognize her for what she is, he condemns himself. And what we find a lot of times, stepping out away from this story into reality, into present day, is that many of the Adams or the Osirises, whatever you would like to call yourself, don't realize the power within her. They realize it, but it's somewhat as if there's no loyalty to it. It needs to be controlled by him in a way that it doesn't make him feel diseased by it, diseased by it. Even amongst women, she can contend. You see, most people don't know this, but all women don't come into the full acknowledgement of this power. This power must be acknowledged, friend. It's got to be acknowledged. It's just like many people going around the world saying, oh, I'm a God, and yeah, I'm a God, and I'm this and I'm that. And it's like, okay, all right, we're putting the buggy before the horse. Surely in the Bible, Jesus does say, ye are gods, yes. But it is an activity-based thing. You've got to ascend to that. So it's the same way with women. You have more evolved women than others. You have women that could be spiritual, but they're spiritual in the wrong dynamic. They're spiritual and aligned to things that do not serve them and that do not carry the fullness of the power that they desire. And they'll do any and everything to get that power. Manufactured power. And then you have some women in the world that align to true power, but are bound to accountability protocols to control that power, lest the power be useless. This is Isis. Isis is bound to accountability protocols, y'all. She has at her hand, within her reach, power like you couldn't imagine. But she's not haughty because of it. You would never know the type of power that she has within her reach unless she needed to reach for it. She does not let it make her feel better about herself. She's not power hungry. And these are the distinguishing differences. And this is why she was so useful and so necessary for this particular set of sequences. This is why she played such a pivotal role in this sequence of events. Had it been any other individual, the outcome wouldn't have been the same. And this is what Set comes to teach. Through the chaos, he teaches you aspects of you. He fine-tunes your mechanical system. He puts all the pieces together. They were already there, but it needed you may have needed a particular event to happen for those wheels to begin spinning in this particular way. There's nothing new been added to you. It's just the systems have become online and in sync. Anpu, she goes into the underworld and she meets Anpu and she's confronted. Anpu is the jackal-headed individual that leads the unalived person to the afterlife. All of these activities that happen in the interaction between the individual and Set. Set is huge because Set comes with the vehicle that proves you. It's Set. Set makes or breaks you, friend. Set makes or breaks you. It is the activities of Set, the chaos, the changes, the dry places, the droughts, and how you approach them. What do you do when Set comes upon you? How do you respond? What path do you take? There are many people standing before Set right now and going within. There's no one you ask outside of you when approached by Set. There's no one. It's you and you. Set searches you. Set will bring upon a storm in your life that will search you, friend. It will search you high and low. It will put a situation in front of you to see, do you meet it with it, or do you ascend higher and meet it with something greater? Where are you on your path? Do you know to do that? Do you have the subtlety enough within yourself to hear that voice? And are you strong enough within yourself to follow it? To trust it? Even if it tells you to do the opposite of what ego and will want you to do? Are you able to control yourself? Or do you allow your faculties and your emotions to run rampant and control you? This is what Set brings. And this is what she felt. And then Anpu, he's the one that creates the direction in which you go. He leads you in that direction based upon your responses to Set. Where do you go? What's next for you? It's a brilliant way of looking at it. This is how you know they knew what they were talking about. What determines your decisions when challenged by Set? She's necessary. There is no greater gift in life than a really evolved and ascended she. But you must be evolved and ascended to be able to receive her. You must. Because if you're not, what usually happens is you'll try to stifle her. You'll try to push her down, control her, whether manipulatively or even physically. You got some folks out here physically putting hands on her to show dominance because you can't match it spiritually. You can't. When she was given as a gift to you, you will need her. And it will be the way you treat her that will determine the level of love she shows for you when you need her. The depth of her well, of her fountain. I'm here to tell you, when a woman feels loved and appreciated, like really loved and appreciated, friend, it gives me chills thinking about it. There's no weapon in heaven or hell that could ever come against you. She say, what did Mr. T say? I pity the fool. That's what she will say. I pity the fool. That's her power, friend. You will not find it in any less evolved person. All women have it, but all women are not evolved. I just explained to you. You got women that love power. They want to control. They want to have it their way. Okay, great. But is that power tempered with truth and love? Because if not, it's a destructive power. It's on a timetable. It goes out looking to conquer. It's always trying to conquer. It's on a timetable. But if that power is tempered with real love and truth and desire, that power is stable. It's contained. It won't look like it. It won't look like what it is. Does a nuclear plant look like that from the outside? It's usually somewhere far away, out of the city, and it's well manned. You got experts that man it because it's so volatile. That's the power. Those people that have it, you wouldn't even notice it. They don't show it. They don't need to constantly prove a thing. They don't need to constantly go out conquering and displaying it. This is Isis. This is Eve. These are her daughters. This is my word for you today. I wrote some things down too. I don't know why this was on my spirit. Some of her daughters look naive and simple. They do. Some of her daughters will in the beginning, you'll have to teach them how to deal with you. Because they will just immediately, if they feel like, okay, this is the one, this is what I'm going to align to, I'm just going to pour all of my love into this. Only to find out that sometimes that's not the best way of doing it. Because that love can be so pure that it seems like it's not truthful. It can come across as a lie. Or it can make the person you're pouring it into insecure. They could feel like, this, I don't know what to do with this. I never had nothing like this. I'm not worthy of it. You could feel that way. It reminds me of that movie Grease, my favorite movie when I was a young girl. Or even now, I love the movie now. I could watch that every year. I could watch that at least 3 times a year for the rest of my life. Love it. Sandy Olsen was a transfer student from Australia. And she goes to this, what is it called? Ridgeback High? Can't remember. And she knows she has what it takes. But she's not cool like the other girls. And she really doesn't want to be. She's cool with herself. But they don't see her like that. And she's like, okay, I got it. It's okay until this boy comes along, John Travolta. And he likes her. Something about her he likes. He likes the inner her. Because that's Sandy's power. It's her inner light. And he sees it. He likes it. But he's not strong within himself to openly show that he likes her. Because all the other guys are hanging out with the cool girls. And Sandy is not stuck on that cool thing. She loves herself. And then finally she gets to a point where she says, you know what, I'm going to play the game. I have enough faith in myself. I could easily be like these other girls. I just like my way better. But there's certain things about these girls that I'm impressed with. I could easily dominate in this too. And when she begins playing that game, she dominates. She outdoes everybody. And she changes her name to Sandy Lee. And that's how it is a lot of times with the daughters. They're already whole. But it takes their interactions at times to fine tune. And in the fine tuning, you learn your power. You learn that your power is not always, your power may be too much for some people. I can't give you all that. Because look how you do me. I can't do that. I have to be able to be strong enough to control my love, to control myself. I can love you and I love you still, but I'll love you in this way because anything more than this becomes problematic for me. So instead of her being handled by it, she handles it. Not in a manipulative way, in a controlled, in a loving, in a wise way. This is my word for y'all today. Because it will be this controlled love. It will be this her being able to see the bigger picture of Adam, of Osiris. And her to be able to stay in the creation in which God created her to stand in and never lose sight of that. That will allow her to come to his aid. But it will be all contingent upon the level of aid that she comes to. Will all be contingent upon how he has interfaced with her. from a heart place along the way. That's it. I don't know why this was on my spirit today. You love more than you'll ever know. I'll never, ever, ever, ever stop telling you. Peace and love.